The market was crowded and full of noise, but the girl walked through it silently. Her name was Lyra, and everyone who looked at her quickly turned away. Her skin was shifting colors again. It was the curse of her birth. She could not hide her emotions, because every thought, every feeling showed in the color of her skin. When she felt fear, her skin turned cold blue. When she was angry, it became red like fire. Sadness turned her gray. Joy brought a soft golden glow. The people around her whispered and laughed. To them, she was strange, dangerous, and not normal. Lyra pulled her hood lower, but it did not help. Her colors still pulsed through the thin fabric. She tried to keep calm, but it was useless. The more she fought her emotions, the wilder her colors became. That day, her chest shifted between blue and red, showing fear and anger at the same time. She walked quickly to leave the marketplace, but suddenly someone bumped into her. She stumbled back and almost fell, but a strong hand caught her. She looked up and froze. It was not one of her people. It was a human. The man looked surprised. "Sorry," he said softly, his voice gentle. He held her steady for a moment before letting go, but that small touch was enough. Her skin changed instantly. Not red, not blue, not gray, not even gold. A new color burst across her skin. It shimmered like liquid silver mixed with bright green, something she had never seen before. Her eyes widened in shock. She gasped and covered her arms quickly, but it was too late. The human had already seen it. The man looked confused. "Are you all right?" he asked. He stepped closer, but she stepped back, her breath shaking. "No, don't," she whispered, but her voice was barely audible. Her heart pounded. She had lived her whole life with shame, but never before had her body reacted like this. A completely new color. She rushed away into the narrow streets, leaving the human staring after her. She could feel her skin still glowing under her clothes, and she pressed her hands against herself, as if that could stop it. That night, Lyra sat alone in her small room at the edge of the city. She stared at her hands. The strange silver-green shade was fading now, replaced by gray sadness. She whispered to herself, "What did he do to me? Why would his touch change me?" Her people had always taught her that humans were dangerous, unclean, and unworthy. No one was allowed to touch them. But when that man had touched her, she had not felt danger. She had felt warmth, like a current running through her body. And then came that color. She tried to push the thought away, but her body would not forget. The memory of his touch still tingled on her skin. She had lived with colors her whole life, but this was the first time she felt she did not understand herself. In the marketplace the next day, she avoided the crowd, but her eyes searched without her permission. She wanted to see him again. It was madness. If anyone knew, they would punish her. If the elders learned, they might even cast her out forever. Still, her heart would not listen to reason. She turned a corner, and there he was, standing by a stall, speaking with the merchant. His hair caught the sunlight, and he looked strange among her people. Taller, his skin steady and plain. No colors flickered across him. For a moment, she envied that calmness. No one could read his feelings. He noticed her watching. His eyes met hers, and he gave a small nod, like a greeting, like a greeting. Her skin betrayed her instantly. It turned golden, glowing bright. People near her gasped, and she hurried away before they could say anything. Behind her, she heard the human's footsteps. "Wait," he called, but she did not stop. She ran until her chest burned, until she reached the edge of the city again. She pressed her back to the wall, breathing hard. Why was he following her? Why was her body betraying her like this? She looked down at her arms. They were glowing silver green again, the same as yesterday. She whispered, trembling, "This should not be happening." For the first time in her life, her skin had shown something outside of her world, something even the elders had never spoken of. A color that belonged to a secret she did not yet understand. But deep inside, she felt it. The change was not random. It was because of him, the human. And now, no matter how much she tried to hide, she knew this was only the beginning. Would his touch save her or destroy her? Her skin shimmered again in the dark, answering with silence. Lyra stayed hidden in the shadows of the empty street, her hands pressed against her arms as if she could stop the colors from glowing through her skin. But the strange shade kept returning every time she thought of him. Silver mixed with green, alive like a river inside her. She could not explain it. She could not control it. When night fell, she slipped out quietly, hoping the cool air would calm her. Instead, she found herself wandering toward the lower part of the city, near the old gardens where no one went anymore. And there he was again, the human. He was sitting on a broken stone bench, looking at the stars as if they belonged to him. Her first thought was to run, but her legs froze. She had never seen someone so calm in a place that always made her people restless. He turned his head slowly, and their eyes met in the dim light. "You," he said gently, like he had been waiting. Lyra's breath caught. She took one step back, but his words followed her. "I didn't mean to scare you yesterday. I only wanted to help." Her skin betrayed her again. It flashed between blue fear and golden warmth, mixing in a storm of colors that swirled across her arms and neck. She pulled her hood down, ashamed. "What do you want?" she whispered. He stood but didn't move closer. "To know why your skin changed when I touched you. I've never seen anything like it." She looked away. "It should not have happened. Humans are forbidden. If anyone saw—" Her words broke and her skin turned gray with heavy dread. His voice softened more. "But you did not die. You were not hurt. Maybe the rules are lies." Lyra shook her head, but inside, doubt stirred. Her whole life, the elders had warned that contact with humans was poison. Yet she felt no poison, only that strange new light inside her. Then, without warning, he stepped forward. Not close enough to frighten her, but close enough that the space between them burned with tension. "If I touch you again," he asked quietly, "will it happen the same way?" Her chest tightened. She should have shouted no, should have run, but curiosity pulled stronger than fear. She whispered, "Don't." But his hand lifted anyway, slow, asking without words. Her colors flared wildly, blue, red, gold, all fighting each other. And then, when his fingers brushed her wrist, everything exploded into that impossible silver-green glow. The light spread wider than before, rippling up her arm, across her chest, and even touching her face. She gasped, trembling, but the glow was warm, not painful. Her eyes widened in shock as she stared at him. He looked stunned too, whispering, "It's beautiful." Lyra pulled her hand away quickly, but the glow lingered. She pressed it against her chest, trying to smother the light. Her voice broke. "If anyone finds out, they'll kill us both." The human's eyes narrowed. "Then we don't let them find out." Her heart pounded. For the first time, she realized the danger wasn't only in the touch. It was in the secret they now shared. She turned and ran into the dark, her skin still glowing with that forbidden color. And though fear weighed heavy, a part of her longed for the warmth of his hand again. The morning sun spilled across the city, but Lyra could not enjoy its warmth. Her skin betrayed her again, shifting colors without control. At breakfast, when her guardian asked a simple question, her arm flashed silver green. He pulled her sleeve down quickly, but the old woman narrowed her eyes. "That shade, I have not seen it before." Lyra forced a laugh and rushed out before more questions came. Her feet carried her through the streets, yet every reflection in glass and water showed the same thing. Her body flashing with colors that did not belong to her people. She was losing control. The secret she wanted to bury was writing itself across her skin. By the time she reached the quiet edge of the city, her whole body trembled. She pressed herself against a wall, whispering, "Stop, please stop." But the colors only grew stronger, pulsing like a heartbeat. She thought of the human again, and the glow erupted brighter, silver green mixed with golden sparks. She stumbled forward and nearly collapsed, and then she saw him. He was waiting, as if he knew she would come. "You're changing again," he said softly, his eyes locked on the storm of colors racing across her arms. "It's not random. It's because of me." She shook her head fiercely. "No, it cannot be. It should not be." "Look at yourself," he whispered. "Every time I'm near, your body answers. Maybe it's not danger. Maybe it's connection." The word burned her. Connection. No one from her people would ever dare say that with a human, yet her body was betraying the old laws. Before she could reply, pain struck her chest. Her skin turned black and gold at once, glowing in a pattern she had never seen. She cried out and fell to her knees. The human rushed to catch her, holding her shoulders steady. At his touch, the pain stopped instantly. Lyra gasped for air, her skin now burning with black and gold light. Her voice shook. This color, I know it. The elders speak of it only in whispers. It is the prophecy shade. It means a bond that can never be broken." The human stared at her, his face pale. "A bond with me?" Her tears glistened as the black and gold light spread over both of them. "Yes," she whispered, horror and wonder in her voice. "With you." Far away, bells rang through the city, warning bells. The elders had felt the surge. They knew something had awakened, and they would come looking. They came for her before the sun set. Cloaked figures of the elder council surrounded her small home, their eyes cold and voices sharp. She was dragged into the great hall where the entire community gathered. Torches burned high, and shadows danced across the walls like accusing spirits. Lyra's arms trembled, her skin unable to hide her emotions, gray with dread, red with anger, then the cursed silver green that betrayed her deepest secret. The High Elder's voice thundered, "This child carries forbidden colors. She has touched what is unclean." His swept the crowd, and they gasped in unison. A human. Lyra's breath caught in her throat. She wanted to deny it, but her body refused to listen. At the mention of the human, her skin shimmered black and gold. The crowd roared in horror, stepping back as if she carried disease. The human was dragged into the chamber next. His hands were bound, but his face was steady. He searched for Lyra with calm eyes, and in that instant her colors exploded again, the prophecy shade spilling across her entire body. The chamber filled with a glow no one could ignore. The elders froze, then hissed in rage. "This is proof. The girl is corrupted. The human has poisoned her blood." Lyra shouted, "No, he has not harmed me. He saved me. His touch keeps me alive." Her voice echoed, but the crowd only murmured louder. The High Elder slammed his staff against the stone. "Enough. The bond between them threatens our order. If it is allowed, others may follow. We will not be ruled by chaos. The punishment is clear: separation or death." Her body turned gray, fading as if life itself drained away. She fell to her knees, struggling to breathe. The human fought against his bindings, his voice raw. "You can see it. When I touch her, she lives. Without me, she fades. You call this corruption, but it is survival." But the elders ignored his words. "Take him away," they commanded. Guards dragged the human back toward the gates, their hands gripping tight. Lyra reached out with shaking arms, her voice breaking. "Please, don't." The moment their hands were pulled apart, her body collapsed, gray spreading like ash across her skin. Gasps filled the hall. Even the High Elder faltered at the sight. For the first time, fear flickered in their eyes. The prophecy shade had not been a myth. It was real, alive before them. But instead of blessing, they saw only threat. And with cold finality, the elder declared, "If the bond cannot be broken without death, then let them die together." The guards dragged both toward the execution chambers, unaware that the glow from Lyra's body was not fading. It was growing brighter, pulsing, waiting. The chains were heavy on her wrists, yet Lyra felt the weight of something far greater. The silence of the human being dragged beside her. His steps were steady, but his eyes carried a fire that even chains could not put out. They were thrown into a stone cell. The door slammed shut with a cruel echo. Darkness wrapped around them, broken only by the faint glow of her skin. She curled into the corner, trembling. Her colors betrayed her grief, dull gray spreading like storm clouds. "They will kill us," she whispered. The human leaned closer, his voice calm but sharp. "Not if we fight." Her eyes widened. "Fight? Against them? There are too many. We cannot win." He shook his head. "Maybe not with strength, but with what they fear most, your colors." Lyra looked at her hands. The silver-green shimmer pulsed faintly, weak as a fading ember. She shook her head, despair crushing her. "It's out of control. I can't command it." The human reached for her hand. The moment their skin touched, the cell lit up with a sudden flare of silver and gold. The glow danced along the walls, alive and fierce. Lyra gasped, her heart racing. "You see?" he whispered, gripping her tighter. "Together, you control it. Not chaos, harmony." Her chest tightened as her body surged with energy. For the first time, she did not feel ashamed of the light. She felt power. But with it came fear. "If we escape, they will hunt us forever." "Then let them," he said, a thin smile breaking across his face. "Let them see what they tried to destroy." Footsteps echoed outside the cell. Guards were approaching. Lyra's panic rose, and her skin flared red with fear. But the human squeezed her hand, and the color shifted, melting into golden flame. It filled the room so brightly that the iron door itself began to glow, the metal heating until it screamed. The guards cursed on the other side, fumbling with keys. Lyra stared at her arms, her voice trembling. "I'm not dying, am I? When I'm with you, I'm alive. The human's gaze never left hers. Then stay with me, no matter what. The door cracked, smoke rising from the frame. Lyra stood, her colors raging in brilliant waves, gold, silver, black, and green all twisting together. The guards forced the door open at last, but the sight waiting inside froze them in place. The girl they had called cursed stood tall, her skin blazing like a living star, and beside her the human glared back with defiance in his eyes. For the first time, the fear did not belong to Lyra. It belonged to them. The trial chamber was filled to the edges with her people. Torches blazed against stone pillars, but even their fire seemed pale compared to the light spilling from Lyra's body. She walked between guards, her wrists bound, the human beside her. The crowd whispered in terror as her skin flickered like a storm, black and gold swirling with flashes of silver green. Every step closer to the elders made the colors surge brighter, as if her body itself defied the chains. The High Elder raised his staff. This abomination must end. The girl has betrayed her kind. The human has infected her. They will not walk among us again. Lyra's knees weakened, but the human's hand brushed hers for a brief instant. The guards tried to shove them apart, but even that single touch sent a wave of light crashing across the chamber. The torches dimmed, drowned by her glow. Her people gasped, covering their eyes. The High Elder roared above the chaos, "Look at this corruption. This is why the bond cannot exist." But then something changed. Instead of fading, Lyra's colors fused together into one steady blaze. Gold flames burned across her skin, wrapping her in light like armor. Her voice rose clear and strong, echoing off the walls. "This is not corruption. This is life." The chamber shook as the energy expanded, racing through the floor. Symbols carved into the ancient stone flared awake, glowing in the same colors as her skin. The elders staggered back, their faces pale. The prophecy had not only been real, it had been waiting for this moment. The human tightened his grip on her hand, steadying her trembling body. She looked at him, and for the first time there was no fear, no shame, only certainty. The glow spread to him, wrapping them both in the same aura. An elder collapsed to his knees, whispering in horror. Chosen union, the forbidden bond. It cannot be stopped. The High Elder's voice broke with fury. If it cannot be stopped, then it must be destroyed. He raised his staff, summoning the guards, but the guards hesitated. The light pouring from Lyra reached their faces, and one by one their weapons lowered. Her colors were no longer wild. They were steady, alive, like a heart that beat for more than herself. The people who had mocked her, feared her, shunned her, now stared in silence as the hall filled with her brilliance. For the first time, they did not see a cursed child. They saw a leader. And yet, in the corner of the elder's eyes burned something colder than fear. Hatred. Hatred that would not die so easily. The execution ground was silent except for the crackle of the torches. Lyra and the human stood in the center, their hands chained together, their bodies surrounded by soldiers. The High Elder stepped forward, his voice hard as stone. End them now. Their bond is a disease. Tonight, we cut it from our people forever. The crowd watched in tense silence, waiting for the blow to fall. But Lyra's skin did not show fear. It pulsed with a deep, steady glow, silver, gold, and green twined together like living fire. She turned her head toward the human, her eyes steady. If we die together. His fingers tightened around hers, and a faint smile broke across his face. Then let them see what they cannot kill. The first soldier raised his blade. In that instant, Lyra's entire body erupted with light so fierce it blinded the crowd. The chains shattered as if they were made of glass. A wave of color surged outward, racing across the ground and through the air, wrapping the entire city in its glow. The torches flickered out, powerless against it. People screamed, then fell silent, shielding their eyes. The soldiers staggered back, their weapons slipping from their hands. And in the middle of it all, Lyra floated with the human at her side, their bond burning brighter than the stars above. The elders cried out in fury, but their voices were drowned by the hush that swept through the people. One by one, the citizens dropped to their knees, not in fear, but in awe. For the first time, they felt the warmth of her colors on their own skin, felt life instead of terror. The High Elder raised his staff for one last strike, but before it could fall, the staff cracked in his hands, splintered by the force of the light. His power shattered, his voice silenced. Lyra landed softly, her glow dimming into a calm golden flame that wrapped around her like a second skin. The human stood beside her, no longer bound, his eyes shining with quiet defiance. The people looked up at her, waiting. She spoke only one sentence, but it carried across the city like thunder. "We are not enemies. We are one." The crowd erupted, voices rising in something between fear and faith. Some elders fled, others stood frozen, but the people themselves leaned forward, drawn by the warmth they could no longer deny. The prophecy had not ended in death. It had been reborn in her colors, in their bond. Yet, as Lyra looked out over the sea of faces, she saw shadows still moving at the edges, elders whispering, plotting, vowing that this union would never rule in peace. Her colors flickered in warning, a spark of storm in the glow. The battle was not over. It had only begun.